Welcome to Daily News Weekly, where we highlight the stories from the past week that you might have missed. I'm your host, Michael Sheridan, and we are back. We are back for more episodes, and I'm really excited. Are you guys excited? Everybody excited?
Yeah.
Yes. That's the energy I want to hear. That's what I want to see and hear. It's great. I feel like rested, you know?
Yes.
I feel like I'm ready to go face another bunch of stories, face a new week, really crank out a bunch of new episodes in the next couple of weeks. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Yes.
Whoa. Hey, you okay? You all right?
Oh, hold on.
I'm a doctor again.
This just has to be one of the craziest prison escape attempts ever. A gang leader in Brazil known as Shorty was caught trying to walk out of a prison in the western part of Rio de Janeiro, but he did it dressed in an elaborate costume to look like his 19-year-old daughter. Now, this disguise that Clavino da Silva had on included a silicone mask, and it wasn't really quite as impressive as something you'd see on maybe Mission Impossible. But one of the great parts about this whole story is that the guards recorded video of da Silva taking off the costume. Watch.
Tira a máscara.
Casaco. Não, casaco.
Tira a roupa. Tira o casaco.
Pra poder mostrar a camisa.
Tira o casaco, preso.
Tira o casaco. Isso.
Não tem esculacho.
É geral, pô.
Ninguém tá te fazendo nada, pô. Aí. Sem esculacho.
Não. Calma aí.
Devagar. Tira a máscara.
Só um minuto. Pera aí. É isso, não tem esculacho não, pô.
Now, there's a part of this escape plan that I don't really fully understand. Apparently, this is how the escape plan worked. The 19-year-old daughter visited her father at the prison. Then Da Silva was going to put on this disguise and then leave the prison as the daughter, leaving the 19-year-old behind in the prison. I just don't really get, how was she supposed to get out? And how was no one going to notice that this 19-year-old girl was in the prison? Honestly, it's like half of a really good plan, and no one really bothered to come up with the other half. Now, according to reports, Shorty was a leader of a rather notorious gang in Rio de Janeiro known as Red Command, and they control a lot of the drug trafficking there. Unfortunately, this story takes a rather dark turn. After his escape attempt, Da Silva was transferred to a maximum security prison. He was later found dead in his cell in an apparent suicide. He hung himself using bed sheets. Some murder cases go years with no suspects. This murder case went 30 years without a victim. Timothy Stroman was 22 when he was shot during a robbery in Brooklyn in 1992. The bullet became lodged in his upper spine and couldn't be removed. Otherwise, he would have been left in a vegetative state, according to his sister, who talked to the Daily News. The shooting did leave Timothy paralyzed, and in April, he died at the age of 48. Doctors determined that his death was directly caused by the bullet. Now police are looking for his killer. At the time of the shooting in 1992, Timothy was sitting in his mother's car on Rockaway Avenue and Bainbridge Street. And at the time, no suspects were arrested. So if anybody might have any information, you might want to reach out to the NYPD. As I mentioned before, we were off last week, so it's been at least 2 weeks since we've had an episode, but I just wanted to highlight just a few of the comments that were made in the previous episode. One of the stories we talked about was a lesbian couple who tried to get their daughter into a Christian daycare in Texas. The daycare refused to allow the girl to be entered into the school because the parents are gay. And I kind of made an argument that I don't think it's particularly fair. Largely, I just don't think discrimination by any kind of business is ever something that should be allowed. I don't know that it's a good idea. But Bunny 2007 wrote on YouTube, if it's a private daycare or school, then yes, they have the right to set those rules. We will never say this about Jewish and Islamic childcare in schools, but we always pick on Christian schools. Let people be. Take them somewhere else. I'm not Christian, by the way. I'm agnostic. We have a free market for a reason. Don't like a service? Then start your own. I did, like many others. I think there's a fair discussion there, but I'm still of the belief that I think if you allow one business to discriminate, you open the door to other businesses to discriminate. Businesses should not be allowed to discriminate. If you're a business taking money, you shouldn't be allowed to discriminate. We also highlighted a story last week about a kid who took a ride on a conveyor belt at an airport. And to that, Scott Barman on Facebook wrote, "I'm surprised that Spirit Air didn't charge the mother for extra baggage." In the last episode, we also started off our Facebook event, Storm Bigfoot, where we're planning on going to the Pacific Northwest to find that elusive creature. And someone had an issue with the photo we used. David Beatty on Facebook wrote, "What an illicitly untrue depiction of a Bigfoot." Oh yeah? How would you know? Have you seen Bigfoot? Our last comment comes from Yogi Bowie Blackman on Facebook, who wrote, "Good point." Hey, thanks. About what? Do you believe in UFOs? Well, then you might want to move to Pennsylvania. Sightings of unexplained phenomena appear to be on the rise in that state, according to the National UFO Reporting Center. Yes, that's a real thing. As the Associated Press reports, the center ranks Pennsylvania as the 7th highest state in UFO reports. And so far this year, there have been more reports than there were in all of 2018. Just to note, New York is the 5th highest, while California takes a commanding lead with the most reports of UFOs in the entire country. Now, to be clear, these reports vary greatly. Some are vague, some are actually explained away as actually being an airplane or maybe a balloon, but many do go unsolved. For example, one of the most recent reports in Pennsylvania was about a red and white light that just remained stationary in the sky and was seen by a guy outside of his bathroom window. Another had like a triangular craft of some sort flying over a highway. But what are those strange lights in the sky? Are they alien spacecraft? Are they experimental military aircrafts? The truth is out there, really out there. How did they even think that this was remotely a good idea? Police in Galveston, Texas have apologized after this photo went viral showing 2 officers on horseback leading a black man through the streets over a minor criminal trespassing charge. Now, these cops arrested Donald Neely, who was reportedly homeless and, according to his family, mentally ill. Then, instead of waiting for a car to come by to pick up Neely and take him to the police station, they decided on their own to do it. So they put like a line on his cuffs and walked him to the station. Now, I get it. This is apparently standard procedure for horseback police officers when transporting a prisoner. And apparently they only really walked about 4 blocks. But I don't really understand how they couldn't have recognized what this would look like to people when they saw it. Like, just the image of it is pretty bad. And to not recognize that, I think, was really, really poor judgment on the part of these police officers. Now, before you start going after me in the comments about saying all this, I'm not the only one saying it. In fact, Galveston Police Chief Vernon Hale essentially said the same exact thing. Our officers showed poor judgment in this instance and could have waited for a transport unit at the location of the arrest. I think there are a lot of factors that go into what's wrong with all of this. In addition to the racial aspect of it, there's also, how do you deal with somebody with a mental handicap, as this man apparently has? It just, so much is wrong with this story. And I've read reports that people are calling for the 2 cops to be fired. I don't know if they should be fired per se, but they definitely should be benched for quite a bit and get some retraining of how they should be handling these circumstances in the future. All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please hit that like button down below. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, your family, your coworkers, and that guy down the street. Because you know what? I know you've been ignoring him. I know you stopped talking to him. He's really lonely, and he's sitting on that stoop. So make sure you share the video with him.